Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lovelastingpod. If you're new to the channel, where have you been? Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel because this channel will bless you. Okay? I remain your host, Ayo, and I'm here with my beautiful wife.
Beautiful wife is here. Beautiful wife is here. Hey.
How are you doing, baby?
I am very, very well. Again, privileged and honored to be on this show with you. Of course.
Privilege and honor to be married to me.
I said to be on the show, baby.
So you're not privileged and honor to be
No,
married to me?
let me land. Let me land. And
Privilege and honor to be married to me for 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're still in the season where we're talking about 10 over 10.
Yep,
okay?
yep.
And as usual, we have some amazing guests.
Yep.
Want to do the honors?
Yes, because we don't dull on this channel. We have the creme de la creme.
Yes.
The cherry on the top.
Come on now.
The chocolate icing.
Yes, sir.
We have the beautiful couple. They are known as Because Marriages Work. But, if you're on a personal level with them, if you're their friends, you can actually call them Ife and Doyin. They are the Olanions?
Yes.
I have to always get my Yoruba pronunciation correct because someone there will say, "Is it not Okpe? Did she not grow up in Nigeria?" I actually didn't, so my pronunciation is actually terrible. But I introduced my beautiful couple because they're actually a beautiful couple.
Beautiful.
Look at them,
Fine couple.
fine couple.
Wow.
Fine couple. Don't be shy.
Welcome, guys, to the Lovelastingpod.
Oh, thank
Good
you.
to be here.
Good to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
How are
you
you
for coming.
feeling?
How are you feeling?
Maybe on the hot seat.
No, trust me, you can calm down. You know with us, we are not too serious.
I mean,
So-
I can tell we should bottle some of this energy you have.
And share it around.
And show it around, Abby.
Yeah, we're excited and equally delighted to be here. Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you for honoring the
Amazing.
invitation.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being here. Okay. We know that you've traveled from really far and to be here. We do not take it for granted. Okay. But we know as well that we are in for a treat.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We're going to be blessed with some wisdom.
We're gonna get a lot of.
Them ones where you have to pause, rewind,
Write
rewrite.
it.
Because these guys are deep like that, and you guys will find out as we dive into it. Okay. So where are we starting?
See
from?
pressure. they just slapped each other's hands like, it's okay, baby, we got this.
Where are we starting from?
Let's do a little icebreaker. Let's
Okay.
break the ice, and I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna play a little game.
Okay.
So I want you, sir, to describe your beautiful wife with the letters of her name. You're in for it because her name, she's got.
Her name
And-
is a
is
little.
it-
No. Is he gonna do the long one? or
No,
the
even the
one?
short one. He's only shorter than her
The
now.
short one is 5, but the long
But
one
his
is
own
8.
short one is 3.
So are we giving them short?
Let's
one
give
or
them
long
short.
one?
Let's do
Okay.
short. Let's do
Okay.
short. And then you're gonna do the same
For him.
for him.
Okay.
So who wants to start?
Should I go first? Why are you
I
think?
can go.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm doing Doyin, yeah?
Yeah.
And so I'm just describing and it can be just words, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Abi, you want to sing or? Because he said it's just words. I don't know what plans you had, but just words is
So
fine.
D, let's go.
So D, I can use the words dreamer. I can use dutiful. Oh. Oh. Nothing comes to mind with I'll come back to that. But
Come back
why
to it.
youthful? Because I know she has that energy
Yes,
where
I
she,
totally
you know,
see that.
We
which
see that.
I think I benefit from sometimes because I can be all old and quiet. Yeah, eye integrity. She's got that.
Wow.
A lot.
Never heard
And
that before.
noble.
Yeah.
Noble. You
And
always,
noble.
Yeah, you can always
love it.
trust. If she says
Wow.
something,
Yeah.
she stands for what she says.
Wow.
She says what she stands for.
Wow.
Love it. But if I wanted to do end me, I'll just say nice. No, we were not deep like that.
Thank God my name doesn't have N inside. Nice. It's nice.
Yeah, but I need to find something for O now.
O is a hard one, to be honest.
Maybe because we're trying to go very deep.
Yes.
That's why.
Orange.
Yeah,
But we can come back to the
we
O
can come back
later.
to O
Okay.
if I find it.
Nice
Oh,
one.
wow.
Love it. Nice one.
My
And
turn.
yeah.
I intelligent. I think Ifelua is one of the most intelligent people I've ever met.
Wow.
So yeah, I intelligent. F friendly.
Mm.
He might not be friendly to the
Did you
world.
plan this already?
I didn't tell
I
her
left out?
anything. I didn't tell her anything.
He might not be friendly to the world, but to me, like one of the things I truly enjoy is the gift of friendship with him. So yeah, and E, enthusiastic. Yeah. He has that zeal and zest for life and living. That's really beautiful. So yeah. Yeah, intelligent, friendly, fashionable. I should have put fashionable.
I was going to compliment the fashion because I actually like the swag.
Then,
I like the swag.
Nice.
you're welcome.
See as they flirt with each other. See how they're just looking in each other's eyes and just a flirt in front of us, maybe.
So,
Hey.
so thank you for playing that quick game, guys. How long have you been married now?
So 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be 9 in May.
Wow.
I think now we prefer to say going on 9.
Yes.
Going on 9.
You're welcoming the 9.
We're
really
welcoming
quickly,
the
like,
9.
come
Yeah, I
here.
think that was kind of like us, isn't it? That was kind of like us because we were like 10. We started saying 10 from immediately
day
after
after.
the 9.
Yeah.
It's
10-year
going on
anniversary.
10.
Yeah.
Going on
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
So 8 going on 9.
Oh yeah. How's 8 years been?
Go ahead.
What have been the highlights so far?
Wow. The highlights of 8 years, I mean, it's just the gift of companionship. Having someone that you can do life with, right? I think that's one thing I can't trade. That's one thing I wouldn't trade for anything else. That gift of companionship.
Yeah.
Friendship, right? Like, I know that I have a friend. Like, I know that I have somebody that has my back any day, anytime, right? So, yeah, friendship. And obviously, we've had our highs and lows,
yes.
but then I think the highlights for me has been friendship. It's been growth as well. You know, I was on our way here, I was saying to him like, oh my goodness, I've actually grown just being married to you. So I think growth as well. Yeah.
I love that. So when you say growth, is it physically?
Turned her into a woman.
Is it spiritually?
I mean,
Is
that
it...
too.
I missed that.
He said, I mean that too. Because I said he turned her into a woman.
I mean, I think it's in all areas. It's really hard to sort of pinpoint it. But then I think it's spiritual, it's intellectual. I mean, what the conversation we were having in the car on our way here that led me to saying, "Oh, I've actually grown into being a better person since I've been married to you." So when I got married, when we were dating, one of the followers' favorite scriptures is "Be at peace with all men as much as it depends on you." And me, sometimes I can have troubles with my friends, and then like I just don't get it. Like, and then he will prevail on me like to walk the road of peace. To to walk things out. Sometimes he's gone in between me and my friends to make sure that we have great friendships and all those things. So yeah, in that regard, I definitely have grown. Another thing, one of my own ideas when we just got married of bonding was like talking about people like, at least I have my own best friend in the house now, and I could easily gossip. I could easily gossip with my best friend, and then I'll just start the conversation. I just need to start switching. Like his body will just start switching. He's not like he's uncomfortable with it. And that sort of has grown on me now. Like our conversations are not centered around people or it is we have things to talk about that is not about somebody else's gist or somebody else's matter. And that yeah. So definitely it's been a lot of growing as a person. Yeah.
I love it.
Wow.
So if we see you twitching, we know that. You know?
If we see
If we see you twitching here.
because we gossip here. We gossip on this. I'm joking. So,
I think this was one of the things I liked when I watched you guys. This
The synergy.
The
The
banter.
banter.
The banter.
lovely.
Okay, so with you as well, how do you think you've grown since you guys have been married?
Well, it's a lot of things. First, I think for me, one of the first things I learned being married to my wife, even from dating her, was thoughtfulness. Now, and that's
thoughtfulness.
yeah, not like I wasn't thoughtful before the time, but there was that extra, and a lot of things I learned, from just the way she thinks about people, more than she even thinks of herself. I, of course, follow scripture and love others like I love myself. So if I'm not going to do it for myself, I'm not going to do it for you.
Standard.
I can
Come on now.
But I see that she could do
And that's not
the
bad.
extra.
That's not a bad thing, though.
I mean, I was following the rules.
You follow the rules, yeah.
She could do the extras. I mean, I learned to give gifts from her. Never used to have gifts, and I didn't know I was missing anything. I didn't miss it. I didn't feel bad. I had a good life, But giving gifts was not just one of the things that I did, I mean, I had my first birthday cake that I recollect at 30.
Wow. Is that a guy
Every
thing,
other
though?
one,
Is that a guy thing?
I bought myself. But for my parents, at 30. So, and I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
I had great birthdays. We celebrated as a family. We're always happy. So it's not like it wasn't a lack of good family, realities or what have you. But I met her and I realized that there was that extra with being, generous with giving. And that stuck because I have learned, and grown in that area. I think that maybe, like I always say to myself sometimes, that maybe people that not necessarily dated me, but were close to me enough to call themselves anything in that regard would have suffered a lot because I didn't give everybody jack. But she unlocked it,
And that's the thing, it takes one person to unlock.
Oh, yeah, she did unlock it. And,
takes one person.
I literally would leave her with everything I own
Wow.
because I think she deserves it. Right. Wow. But I don't think I had that state of thought in any other, prior friendship or relationship, And yeah, so that, in that area, I celebrate this woman.
Nice.
Love it. So what's the best gift that he has given you now that he has learned how to...
His heart.
Hey!
Come on!
And it takes a lot. It takes a lot for him.
Even cameraman was like, yes!
So he gave... I like that.
Lyrics, Lori Gongo.
I like that. And again, it just shows that you're not materialistic.
Because me, I would have said red bottoms. hey.
And I said, he gave me Jaguar.
Jaguar.
He gave me that.
Okay.
He gave me his heart.
His heart.
So other people say he gave me his last name.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of men watching this saying, see your fellow woman. See your fellow woman.
Exactly.
Making it easy.
You're making it easy.
Exactly. No, I love it. So what would you say, and thanks for sharing that. I think I want to go back to what you said about growth. That you feel like being married. How long did you guys date for?
We dated for 2 years.
2 years. So you've known each other 10 years.
Yeah.
Dated 2 years. We'll come back to the dating side after a while. So, but you've grown.
Yeah.
Right? And I always say that it is so important that you're a better person.
Yeah.
Because of the person you're married to. Or you're in relationship with. If after 5, 6, 7 years of marriage, you cannot see that I'm actually better, then maybe there's a foundational issue somewhere.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Like, so in as much as I strive to be better, I want to be better, right? Because who you get married to has a huge impact on so many things, on your life, on your life decisions, on your direction, on so many things. So it's almost like, how do we navigate that? So for someone who is thinking that, okay, I've been married now for the last 2, 3, 4 years, I don't feel like I have grown. I don't feel like I'm better off than I was. Some people are like, I wish I was still single.
Yeah.
So in my mind, is it you did not marry the right person, or you were too codependent, or there's a lot around it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what your thoughts are around, okay, I should be better. And again, it's not that maybe we're not delegating that responsibility
To the other person.
Yeah.
to the other person to make you better.
Yeah.
But I feel like it just sort of happens along the way, isn't it?
Yeah. And there was something.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was something you said. You were like, you don't delegate the responsibility to the other person, right? Oftentimes when people are deciding on who they're going to spend the rest of their life with, one thing I say look out for in the person is teachability. And it's that humility to sort of submit yourself to say, I'm not all that. I'm not the best thing since sliced bread. Like, I would have days when my flaws will come to the table.
Yeah.
And I give you permission to sort of call me out on my weaknesses, call me out on my weak areas. But in love, obviously, right? And I think that that's something that has really, really helped us in terms of the fact that I'm not oblivious to the areas of my personality that need working on.
Come on now.
And I'm not sort of like, take me as I am. I think that was something that we sort of established at the foundation
That
of
take
our...
me as I am is a major issue.
It's a major
Carry on.
issue.
I think that's something that we sort of established at the foundation of our relationship, because that joke that he was cracking about gifts, or what he was saying rather, not the joke, what he was saying rather about gifts.
There's a story.
There's a story behind it.
Tell us the
Do you want to
story.
share?
Not
Tell
now.
us the story. Tell us the story.
Not
Tell
now.
us the
Not
story.
So essentially, right, it was our first
The story will come
Valentine's.
up,
It was our
I'm
first.
sure.
It was our first Valentine's Day together.
Oh my
We were
God, it's already
dating.
up.
So you were dating.
We were dating, right? And me, like,
I'm not sure I want to hold your hand for this thing.
hold it, romantic, and I'd gone all out, like, well, this is our first Valentine's together. I must make sure that and I just started earning, because at that time I was doing internship and I was earning, I was earning quite well in Nigeria. So I was like, you know what?
So you were in Nigeria at this time?
Yeah, we're in Nigeria at this
So
time.
you started your relationship in Nigeria. Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go all out for this boy. I'd ordered things. I'd done this. I'd done that. And then all of my friends are like, doing you in a relationship this year, you're not going to roast. Roasting was a term. The roasting was a term, right? And then he turns up.
So the previous year, did you roast?
I roasted because I was not dating anyone at the time.
Okay. Please, maybe we'll come back to
Say
this.
roasted.
Carry on. So please explain, because again, not all of our viewers understand. What exactly is roasting? Just for people who don't understand.
So roasting was sort of a term that was, I don't know where the term was coined from, but it was something that used to go around back then, like when you're single and on even if you're in a relationship, or on Valentine's Day, if nobody, your significant other or the person that you're dating does not show up, you don't even get pencil, you have roasted. If you get a card, you did not roast.
Okay.
You did not.
So even if
you get chocolates,
you didn't
did not
roast.
Okay.
But you did not get anything. Like nobody even said doing you.
You didn't even get text message. Happy Valentine's. My
Exactly.
Valentine's.
Not even happy vows day.
So literally that you've roasted. So in the previous year, I wasn't dating anyone. So obviously we all roasted together. Me and my friends, we all took ourselves out to celebrate our roasting. and then this year I'm dating this guy that all of them really like, and everybody's really into him. So myself, I'm like, this year, God, thank
Fire
you.
for fire. Come on now.
And then I'd planned my presence with a lot of thoughtfulness and detail and everything. And then he arrives. At first, I thought he was joking. I
This must be the most embarrassing
You've learned. We
That
talk about growing.
reality-
You've
That
learned
is
since
must
then.
be April
reality
Fool.
of our union.
It must be April Fool in February.
But I have my part of the story. So yes,
And then he arrives. I'm like, this boy is joking, right? And then he turns up and was like, I was like, maybe he still has the gifts in his car. So I was just thinking ahead for him. And I was like, how are you? And it was like a normal day. And I'm like, why are you acting like today is normal? Today is Valentine's Day. And he's like, oh, really? Valentine's doesn't really mean anything.
I told you I don't celebrate
I don't
Valentine's Day.
celebrate Valentine's Day. And I'm like, but how come I didn't get that memo? I wasn't aware before now.
And
that
this was me. I came with on ice skates.
then he has now So he then brought a box of cupcakes that he had
Like,
gotten.
I'm coming to see my girlfriend.
And then the cupcakes were even on ice, like not even small red. There was no small
So they
red.
were just akara.
Oh my.
Not red and white. Just red and white. You know how they just use the icing, just pipe it red and white. They'll just even make you feel like it was Valentine cupcakes. Nothing.
Wow.
And so I gave him his gifts, and then he sort of left. I mean, I was very, very sad. I was really disappointed.
Did you let him know you were disappointed at the time?
Not instantly, right? But then obviously,
No, we spoke about it.
did we speak about
We
instantly?
did. We did. And that,
yeah.
because I think at the time I'd mentioned that I didn't celebrate Valentine's, and it wasn't something that I even put in thought like that was happening. So what had happened that day was my cousin had said, so you're not going to see your babe today? I'm like, why? and she said it's Val's Day. I'm like, so you know, so I was literally driven out of the house because what she said was that if I was her, I'll be waiting to see you today.
Wow.
Taiwo. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just go. But I went as though, every normal day.
Like at the gifts.
And then I got there. And so to me, I was going to see my girlfriend. And I had those cakes. And
Even
it was
as
more
extra.
like sitting, gist. And I brought this. Just for me to realize it was supposed to be a special day. And when she came out to me, she came out with like a box of things. I'm like, what's going on? It's Val's Day. I'm like, okay. So what are we supposed to be doing? So it was at that point, I was so worried actually that after that that experience, I had to speak to one of my mentors at the time.
Wow.
And I said, this happened.
Worried that you were going to break up, or
No,
worried that...
like worried
That you messed
how
up.
to manage it from there.
Yeah.
And then I spoke to him about it and told him that, look, I didn't really believe in it, and I didn't think that was the premise.
Was there any reason you didn't believe in it?
I just felt I would be the loving person every day, and I didn't need that.
So
and
basically, every day should be Valentine's.
So
Day.
yeah, but not like that was what I was saying, right? It's just that I didn't think that I wanted to hold on to that as the reason to be good to my wife or spouse, So he told me something then. He said, as far as you're not sinning against God and she believes it, you have to believe it.
Wow.
Because what happens if you don't is that you keep hurting her on that ground. And if you really care about her, as you say you do,
that's deep.
That's all there is to do.
As long as you're not sinning against God.
Yeah.
And then at that point I figured, okay, so yeah.
Valentine's
So
Day,
since then you've been
Let's
celebrating
do it.
Valentine's Day.
You've been doing it.
I think I have.
Oh, wow.
Love it.
And a very early lesson to learn, because what you've just said, that your pastor said, or your mentor rather, it can set premise for a lot of things. So as far as you're not sinning against God and it makes your wife happy or your husband happy, then just do it. Because sometimes I feel like we hold on in our relationship, and even in marriage, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, and I don't feel like I should do it.
Stubborn about it.
We're just
Yeah.
stubborn about
We're
it.
just stubborn about it. Like, oh, why must I do things your way? Right? This is how I am. Going back to, this is how you met me. Right? And some people have decided that, listen, this is how you met me. I'm never going to change. I'm never going to compromise. I'm never going to do anything that would mean that I'm moving slightly just because of you. And that's one thing that I feel like a lot of couples need to learn. Right? Even just that power of compromise.
Yeah.
Like, it would actually help your marriage.
It will.
Yeah.
It will.
It actually did in this incident, because I think it totally even erased that experience. That when we talk about it, we're talking about it laughing. Right. And
because it's not a pain point for me.
It's not.
Imagine that he held his ground and said, "Oh, you know what? We are not celebrating Valentine's Day in this
In this
marriage,
house.
in this house."
Because I said so.
You might not even be here today, as in on issue, like, because it would be something that it would be an issue between you both, and such a small thing, such a small thing, but that's actually what happens in marriage. Small issues.
Those small issues, then resentment will come, and then it keeps growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
because marriage works. I like that. So what made you guys, at what point did you decide to start because marriage works? What is the story or the history behind because marriage works?
I feel like we'll have different versions.
Okay. You go first with your version.
So, I know that before I got married, I had known that I was called to ministry of some sort. Even if I felt like pastoring wasn't the ministry I was called to, because I think at the time what I'd seen was pastors who weren't really having it good. Right. So I look at it, I'm like, no, this is not me. I'm not going to wear one shoe for 10 years. No way. So on that ground, I ran away from that. I mean, I've gone to Bible college. I've gone through that. I had pastored in different,
But that has changed now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's changed. I mean, you can't fight God, can you? So that was the ground.
Yeah.
But I knew I also had this, calling to counseling and all of that. And it happened a lot with people that were in relationships, marriages and all that. And I just had a sense that, you can't run away from this ministry path. And one of the periods when I was still desiring and hoping and praying, to find my wife, one of the things that I knew would be the one was that the person was also called. So not called because I'm called. Not called because I said so. Called as well. And then because I felt that necessity to be able to speak to men and the woman speaks to women, I even made it worse. I said the person must be specifically called to women.
Wow.
So until I find that person, I've not found my wife.
Wow.
It so happened that by the time I was finding her, that was one of the things that happened for her. So to me, I'm like, okay, great. Of all the different other things I put down when I was going to find
So
my wife,
you had a list.
that I did have a list. She had that. And so from the beginning of our, union, I knew that we're going to have that ministry part at some point. I just didn't know when. Then we got in, and then of course she's passionate. I mean, I can take my time a lot, but she's passionate. So she was like, babe, let's just go into it. I think we tried to start pretty much almost immediately sharing lessons, the adventures from the beginning, into the marriage. And I think just we stopped.
Yeah.
And then we started. I just leave out the restarting part because she remembered those things. She remember those things more than I do. Well, we had started initially based on a passion, and I think at some point it just seemed like, what are you guys talking about? 5 months into marriage, 6 months into marriage. What do you know?
So did you get that? Did you get that a lot?
Oh yeah, we got people saying that.
Wow.
Like everybody's now a marriage counselor and all those type of things, right? So yeah, we stopped, and I think we started again. But there was a reason for restarting, which I'm sure you might remember that I don't.
Okay. So the version of the story that you didn't. So I didn't see a great marriage modeled. On the other hand, the fellow his parents had a fantastic marriage. Like, they had a beautiful marriage. I didn't see that modeled. I was raised by a single mom.
Right.
And for some reason, I still call it God's providence, really. I just had this passion in my heart for marriages. Like, even though I didn't see it modeled, even though I didn't experience it, I was still very desirous of having it for myself and also being able to equip other people to have it for themselves as well, because I just knew that what I was lacking was something like that family unit is something so pivotal that shapes a child's life, and getting that thing right is so important. And I just wanted
so what did you do during that time where, okay, I felt like I desire this, I'm not seeing this. So how did you find maybe you talk about it afterwards, but yeah.
So essentially, it was reading, really. I exposed myself to a lot of materials, resources on the...
Can read.
Like, I had a voracious
Yes.
appetite.
I mean, she not only she reads and writes down.
I had a voracious appetite. Like, I was looking for it everywhere. Like, what is the standard? What does God say about marriage? How does marriage work? The people that are getting it right, what are they doing?
What are they doing?
What do they know that I don't know? So I'll go for conferences, I would go for meetings, I will buy books, I will read and do all those things. And basically, I felt like it was an investment both for myself and for people, right? Because I knew that I really wanted a great marriage. I still had that burning desire. Like, the desire didn't die. Like, I didn't come to a point that I started to look at men and be like, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with men. I'm not interested. But I knew that I still wanted to be married, and I knew that I wanted to have a godly family. And that was something that God just kept in me as a seed. And I think the fanning to flames of that seed was just sort of resources and the things I was exposing myself to and just guarding my heart. So from a very early stage, I was not interested in all the stories of marriages where they are not working and all of those things. I sort of stewarded my focus, like, okay, this is the thing that I'm focusing on. This is the thing that I want to see. This is what I want to build. And I think easily finding out how his parents' marriage was so easy for me to just sort of feed into that. And then we then decided that, this is something that we wanted to do. And then early on we started, like, I remember we just got married and we started recording podcasts. And then it was a lot. Like, I got a lot of funny messages. I don't know, the best, like,
from random people or people that know and love you guys.
You know when they say people open burner accounts, or what's that thing called?
Fake accounts.
Fake accounts.
Wow.
This is 2015 when we got married. Somebody, like, and I'm sure that it might have been somebody that knows me well.
Yeah.
Somebody opened a fake account just for me and then said, we know that you're
that's
excited.
the detail I didn't remember.
We know that you're excited about getting married, but can you keep it down a bit? You're putting a lot of pressure on your single friends.
Wow.
As I read that message, I just packed up all the ideas, all the dreams. I just said, you know what, it's okay.
Dream killers.
I said, we're not doing it again. Like, let's and you know, it's still that there was a seed of fear. It worried me, right? It worried me because I'm like, okay, maybe they have a point. You're just how many weeks married? Like, wait for the marriage to stand the test of time. Wait for it to go the long haul before you can now come and stand in front of people feeling like you have something to share. But for me, it has never always been about perfection. And that's one thing. Even in sharing our journey, we don't come saying we have it all figured out. We don't come saying, come and look at Ife and Doyin, they know how to do marriage. No, we're like, come and learn from the same God that we're learning from as he's teaching us and he's leading us on this journey of marriage. Because we're not the spotlight is not on us.
Yes,
we're all
exactly.
learning.
The spotlight is not on us. The spotlight is on the God that is teaching us. So you're learning from our mistakes. We are sharing how we are making mistakes and we're growing from it. And that's why I'm not ashamed to be vulnerable with my teething pains, because it's not as if marriage was rosy from day one for us, because we had some things that we sort of had to walk through and tease through as well. But I'm not ashamed to share that, because that's part of the story.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I can, with all of the things, all the odds that were stacked up against me, if we can be here today, you too, you can be here.
Yes.
So don't give up on your marriage.
Yes.
And that's where the name, was coined from, because marriage is work.
Yeah.
Like, so don't be fooled by the narratives that you see. Marriage is work.
Yeah.
Right. And I think if there's anything, that's what we just put out there. Just see that if you commit to it, it actually does work.
Yeah.
And it does work to the extent that you want it to work. As a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
To the extent that you want it to work, because it's garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
So whatever you put in is what you also get out of it, isn't it? So a lot of people are they don't even want to put in the work. So you said so much. And I want us to touch on some of those things. You said so many things. Going from you, first of all, being intentional, right? Said you had a burning desire. Those are some of those buzzwords, right? And I noticed that every woman, every girl, every lady actually wants to get married. The average lady is dreaming of marriage from the age of 15, maybe, right?
At least, yeah.
But you did not see it being modeled for you, but you went and exposed yourself to learning, right? So it's not just a wish. So many people wish.
I wish I had a good marriage.
I wish I had a good marriage.
Yeah.
I wish I can be married. And then it's like, marriage is the goal. They just want to do wedding. And they don't take out time to actually learn about these same principles. Learn from the Bible. Learn from other people.
Yeah.
right? So that when they go into, so I feel like you came into marriage prepared
Yeah.
because of what you had seen,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you had learned from what did not work,
Yeah.
and you had also now exposed yourself to what
was
actually
working.
worked.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that's a learning moment
Yeah.
for a lot of our singles who actually desire to do. So those that desire to go into marriage counseling and coaching in the future, and those who actually just desire to have a good marriage,
Yeah.
to understand that it's not going to work automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to work because I want it, right? You're going to actually need to put in the work on yourself. So all of those reading that you've been reading, and you continue to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a case of because the way what you read last week or last year, you're getting a new meaning from it
Yeah.
this year and a new application or
Yeah.
new wisdom from
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it actually never stops.
Yeah.
It never stops. But the average person now is just, hey, we marry, we take selfie, we're on
We do hashtag.
yeah, hashtag, we're on the biggest blogs and everything. And it's like, this marriage is more than all of these things that you're
Exactly,
doing.
yeah.
And then you now hear after 6 months that
Something has gone
they
wrong.
have troubles. They want to divorce. When you just went there with the mind of we're just going to appear, we're going to enjoy ourselves. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to draw on that. That was the first thing.
I mean, I was going to say that something we have come to understand and something we share, that it is just coining from that idea that 20 friends do not go together
For 20
or
years.
for 20 years or stay together for 20 years.
Yeah.
And we have come to understand that they won't stay together essentially because they didn't grow together.
They didn't go together.
There's the idea where if you grow together, you can easily stay together because vision still aligns.
Yeah.
Destination still aligns. Meaning aligns, right? On several grounds, you find reason for being together because you're growing together. It's if you bring that into marriage, it makes it easier for you both to keep going together if you grow together. And so I pay attention to what my wife knows, like she pays attention to what I know. So we really much know what we know,
Yeah.
right? I'm growing in this aspect of life. She must be growing in that aspect of life. If she's not interested, we'll find a way to create the interest.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't get to the point where I'm able to speak on certain matters and she's not interested.
And I feel like maybe that's
Regardless,
where the
just-
disconnect happens.
That-
Did you get? And that's where it starts to
Yeah.
happen, where I prefer to speak to some other people on this matter. And it might be really pivotal areas for some people. Spirituality. You can't speak
Yeah.
to your wife about it or your
Yeah.
husband. The woman is more fervent than the man. So she's speaking to prayer warrior women. The man is in the house loafing. One day they will have issues.
Wow.
One day when
That's
there's
so
real
true.
trouble and she has to pray and it's not the one she calls,
Yeah.
there will be problem. Because when she now prays with other people and they find out that, but your husband is praying for us too.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with your husband? Leave my husband though. He's just at home. He says everything will be okay. He doesn't know that things are more
happening.
spiritual. Before you know what's happening, she's speaking or nitpicking every other detail of his life. Like that's the way he's even behaving to his job. That's the way he's even behaving. Before you know what's happening, there's trouble.
There's trouble.
That's
with the
actually how it
disconnect.
starts.
Yeah.
The
That's
fact
how
that
it
you don't
starts.
see eye to eye on matters that are pivotal for your union to stay together.
Very
We
true.
don't allow that.
Yeah.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom.
I was gonna just ask about, just move to another subject, and especially talking about eye to eye on certain subjects. So you guys clearly you relocated from Nigeria to the UK. How did you guys come to agree on that? And how was the process? She said,
So we already know that there's something. There's
I mean, this one too had its own. But there are a lot of things that are just common sense. And maybe I'll just go first. Because we came to the UK on our visa. Common sense. She got a job. So she has to go to work. We can't come to the UK on a visa and then I instantly say, look, I have to be the man. You need to stay back at home, take care of the kids. I need to go and look for a job. We came on a visa that already assigned role. So the agreement was, oh, that's even another story.
Yeah. How did we agree?
yeah,
Wow.
give us story now.
Relocate.
Give us
Wow.
story.
So, in Nigeria, I think that I love this woman so much. I hate to see her stressed.
wow. That's love there.
That is.
That's real love.
So in Nigeria, as God will have it, she was working with
The government.
the government. Let me not call any
mention the
hospital because she knows me now. Just call it like forget that it's going wild.
What profession? Sorry.
Medical doctor.
Okay, just wanted to be clear.
She's working with the government, And I just knew, I know I have an intelligent woman. And I know when I hear her talk about her practice, the passion, the zeal, the energy, the desire to just help people. Then she comes from work and she's frustrated because of the system, because of structures, because of things not working and all that. And it just kept happening. Meanwhile, before we got married, I think while we were dating, she had mentioned the idea of we relocating and all of that. When I said, I don't see that in my path. I don't think God has called me to that. I think that everything that concerns me, ministry and all, what I see is still here. But of course, I didn't say that with a closed mind, like if he ever comes up, it will be a no. But at that moment, it didn't feel like I had any sense in that was something.
So at
we
that
should be
moment,
doing.
would you say that you sort of shut it down?
So I don't know how much of a shutdown it was because she didn't antagonize it. So when I said it was okay. Like she just said, okay, no problem. So it wasn't as if we had a drag on it and then I was shutting it down. So there was no active push or push against.
Right. But don't you? So how did that make you feel at the time, though?
No, so I wasn't keen on it either because I sort of used to. There's something I still believe it. Anyways, I won't say I used to believe. I still believe that there are things that God will have me do in shaping the healthcare space in Nigeria, right? But at that time, I felt like that meant that I had to be working in the healthcare space in Nigeria
Right.
to do that, right? So I was also of two minds about relocating. So it was easy for me to just say, yeah, he's not really keen and just move it off because it was more of like pressure from friends, like being like, oh, Doyin, are you really sure? Like medicine in Nigeria is not looking great at the moment. Are you sure you shouldn't relocate and all of that? So they were seeding the thoughts in my head and then I was just sort of passing it out to him like, some of my friends are doing all these exams to go to America, to go to England. Maybe I should do it too. And he was like, oh, I'm not. But then I wasn't like, it was not on the top, it was not on the front burner of my mind. Like I wanted to do it as well. So I didn't necessarily feel anyway. It was just like, yeah, it's okay. I don't really want to do this.
So did you fight about it?
No, it was fine.
So I think it was easy. Like, so we.
But when I started getting frustrated.
Yeah. So she starts getting frustrated. So she'll come back home looking all burnt out and everything. And I mean, we had help. We had all those things going on. And I was like, what's going on? She just walk. And so when she goes around and says all the work details, and I'm like, they're just going to kill my wife for me. So there was this day I just told her, I said, babe, should we consider that thing you spoke about the other time that I didn't, you went? And she's like, oh, that would be good. And instantly.
So you're the one who brought it back.
Oh, yeah. And then instantly she jumps into action before you know what's happening. Applications, before you know what's happening. There's a job, before you know what's happening.
Wow.
And we really go into that process. It was as though I wasn't even thinking of what was going on. Like, really, did I say that? Are we here now? Are we leaving? But yes, we were there. Wow. And then we left. And so it wasn't really much planning. Like, it was just me or him saying, I don't think I want you like this.
Yeah.
You're better than this. Your intelligence, your commitment, your zeal, I don't think it should be wasted by a system. I think that if there's a place where you can exploit properly, I think you should rather be there. And so that was the grounds under which we decided it, and then we left and came here.
So that must have been a sacrifice on your.
It was a sacrifice,
yeah.
right? And it became even more of a sacrifice when we got here, because back in Nigeria, of course, nobody knew COVID was going to happen. So I had an events company, and at that time I started managing even to corporate events. So I figured, I told my team then that I'll set up another one when we get to the UK. And I mean, my team, they were excited. Oh, our boss is going to the UK. We're going to have a UK branch and blah 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 blah. And so we go. She goes. I come after. And I had 3 events in Nigeria the following year. So what the plan was she'll go first. I'll come, I had 2 events, so I couldn't go with her. So I went after the 2 events, and then I had 3 events in February of the next year, 2020. And then I went back for those 3 events because one of the bride's mom had said she wanted me in the wedding or no one. So I showed up, but the plan was to bring the kids over. So I got there, finished the events, and brought my kids over. And then we got to the UK. I'd already started making calls
Networking.
and I started networking. I joined the event system. I started reaching out to people that I wanted to meet up with. People were excited to meet up with me. I mean, people had even seen my event business page. I'm like, are you for real? You're in the UK now. You that has these things. And, you know, so I was looking forward to that. I was planning that on my birthday, March 30th, you know, I'll do a mini launch and then we come back, second week of March, and COVID hit. Lockdown happened. Businesses shut down.
Oof.
So it was like all that dream shut down.
Wow.
So both the Nigerian business
Wow.
and the dream for the UK extension shut down.
But doctors were enjoying in this time.
And then my wife was just choking.
Yes.
Going to work.
They
Coming
used
to-
you guys.
Coming to gist me about frontline
Yeah.
issues. And then I just instantly became a stay-at-home dad.
Wow.
Like it was a shock.
It was a shock. Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, we had help, sometimes 2 at a time.
In Nigeria.
We had access to a mom, you know. And so most times the kids are away with her for the weekend. And we always had that. We had our time. We need domestic work was nothing.
It's not an issue, yeah.
And it's like all my domestication, if there's any expression like that, came to play. I was the driver, I was the cook, I was the cleaner, I was the father, I was the husband. What was I not?
And
You know-
in that place, you kind of become the pillar because you're the everyone's run to.
Absolutely.
You're everyone's run to. Everyone pours into you as well. They've had bad at work, school, whatever it is, they bring it to you. And sometimes it's like you need your outlet as well. But your outlet is in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just assumed the responsibility knowing that it was common sense. We're here on this woman's visa. It's common sense. You know, set down, make sure she settles down, and make sure everything has a balance before anything can start.
Yeah.
Because if I keep necking out trying to make sure that whatever it is, no, you'll tilt it off.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, but I'll come back to that. But let me just put it down so that we don't forget. I want to ask how you felt during that season, right? But I want to also ask Doyin in terms of how you also did your own navigation of that season. So he's talked about the story of, okay, finally he's agreed, without going into that backstory now. So now you've agreed, and then you have now come into the UK. How did that make you feel, knowing fully well that he had now made this sacrifice for you, and knowing fully well that, okay, you were coming to do you first, and then with everything that was happening, then we'll come back to Ife to actually understand from a man's perspective, because for me, I'm just thinking, you know, there's the whole stereotype of, you know, it's the man, you're the one, you're the provider, you're the everything. And at that point, if you're not doing all of that just because of that season, you know, how you're able to react to that. But,
So I think one thing that really, really helped us is the fact that we're friends. And that's something I said at the beginning. And that friendship has allowed for vulnerability with emotions, with pain, with struggles, with whatever it is part time. So obviously, I got a good job. Like, obviously the work environment was completely different from what I was used to. It was welcoming. I mean, before COVID hit, and then there was fear surrounding COVID, like, oh, I don't want to get COVID. Am I going to take COVID home to my family and all those things? So before that, it was really, really good for me. Like, it was a good career move, right? I would put it as that. It was a really good career move for me. And like, I was earning well. Like, it was really good for me on the books. But one thing for me as well is just learning to be conscious of this man. I think sometimes we can downplay the sacrifices that we make for each other unconsciously. But putting that sacrifice top of heart was very helpful for me in navigating that season. Like, Ifelo has always been hands-on. So it was not the domestication that was surprising me as much as the fact that he had just lost earning. Like, he was not earning. Right? The day that he transferred the last naira that he had and changed it to pounds, he was like, Auntie, I've changed all the...
This is my last though.
even for me, but I think... anyways, go.
I've changed all the naira that I have left though.
Wow.
There's no naira left, right? And so I made sure that, and it's openness with finances, right? So he knew what I was earning. He had access to all of my cards. And I could also trust him because I knew that he was not a spendthrift and he was not going to do anything in a way that we didn't agree about it beforehand, or we didn't discuss it beforehand. So it was our money. So even though I was not the one earning, the table had just tilted in my direction in this season. It didn't necessarily mean that I was not the boss of him or anything. Like my children would say, "You're not the boss of me." It did not mean that I was not the boss of him.
Our children say that as well. So that's why we're actually laughing.
Because you want to actually say to them, I am your boss. I am.
So like I didn't feel like I was now the boss of him, right? And I was not rubbing it in his face like I'm earning, you're not earning.
Yeah.
So the decisions were still made jointly. Not necessarily, because even if your money was not in the money that we're going to use to pay for the rent of the house, but we will still look at the house together.
Exactly.
We will still go through the pictures together. We will still make the decision together and come to the conclusion that this is where we're going to go. So I was making sure that I was carrying him along in all of the consciously and intentionally, right? I mean, I won't say that there weren't times that I slipped into like sort of subtle like expectations, like there are days I'll come back from work and then maybe there's no food, and I'm like, I've been out there working, it's COVID,
working for the family.
I've been out there working and it's COVID, like why is
what
there
have
no
you been doing
food?
all day?
What have you been doing all day?
Do you understand? But then I was always quick to catch myself when I fall into that mentality of entitlement and sort of entitlement. And then we have a conversation about it, like, oh, babe, I didn't like how you spoke to me today. And then we teased through the emotions. And then it was also for me making sure that even though he was the one doing all the stay-at-home parenting, making sure that I allowed him, like, okay, I'm not working this weekend and this weekend. Do you want to do you? Like,
exactly.
Like, what do you want to do? Don't worry about me or the children. I've got it covered. I've got it sorted. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe you want to network. You want to do this. You want to do that. Do what you have to do. I mean, obviously, we talk about it now and it seems but then in the messy middle, I think it was
messy. In the messy middle is messy.
It was a lot of communication.
You know, when she mentioned,
would you say that's the toughest season in your?
Yeah, it's been actually, because I don't think I've had anything as trying as that. When she mentioned the cooking part, I remember the day we had that conversation, and it was really. She said it now, and I felt the emotion. You know, and I had to pick a positive angle to what was going on at the time.
Wow.
I was getting better at cooking.
Wow. No, that's
I love it.
That was the only way
that you
I was going to go on without any trouble. Because in that moment, I just felt really low. Because if I came home and there was no food, I wouldn't say anything. I'll go into the kitchen and I'll cook. Now, I was going to marry my wife, not knowing if she knew how to cook or not. Because, of course, we didn't have that.
You didn't have that
foundation of having to maybe stay together so much that she has to cook for me or something. So, I mean, I visited her in her mom's house. She visited me in my parents' house as well. So, if there was food, it was parents' food. You know?
Yeah.
So, I didn't know if she knew how to cook. But in my mind, if she didn't know how to cook, my wife is a great cook. But at that time, I didn't know. And then I'm like, even if she didn't know how to cook, I would teach her how to cook, but this is the woman. So it wasn't premised on whether food would be available or it wouldn't be available. So to now hear that, and it wasn't this way, it was this way. It entered. I'm like, oh my God. And what do you think I've been doing since morning with these two giants that you gave me to take care of? You know. So that was going on. And that was, you know, and it's not even like there was no food though. It was the fact that the food was not done. The arrangements were on. So, you know, there are times I've told my wife several times, I said, if I share the same personality type as you would have left this house. Because, you know, my wife is so passionate. So she can just be like, babe, I don't understand. Why are you doing that like that? Why and then, you know, that's zeal.
Jim.
Because I am calmer, you wouldn't
So
know
you're the
something is
calmer
you
one.
wouldn't know something is hitting you,
Yes.
right? And because it hits you slowly.
Yeah.
But hers is like, boom.
Boom.
Why is there no food?
Yeah.
What have you been doing since morning? How did you spend your day? I'm like,
Yeah.
calm down.
Come and write a report. Come and
You know, this funny. Now that you said this, I always remember something that happened when. Oh God, even thinking about it now, I remember when I had Michaela, and obviously as a first-time mum, you're still trying to navigate. And I remember Ayo came home, and he was like, "You're in the same position you were in when I left the house." And he said, see how my voice is shaking. He said, "Have you been breastfeeding all day?" Because obviously, you know, I can't breastfeed all day. It's not possible. So for him to even ask that question that, you know, obviously I can't give an answer to because I've not been breastfeeding all day. I was so upset. I was so upset.
Actually,
I was
can't
like,
remember you.
yeah, you wouldn't. Baby. You
You're saying
wouldn't.
this as
Because
if
I
it's
was
not
in my heart, I was
forgivable.
like, this is your child. You made me. I had this baby, you know. I went through all of it because when things like this happen, you now start reflecting. I'm the one who went through labor. I'm the one who's at home. I actually want to be at work. I don't want to be at home with a baby. Like, I'm stressed with the baby. And then
Right.
you come home and you say, have you been breastfeeding all day? Very rhetorical question.
You know, I think obviously as couples, there's this expectation, uncommunicated expectation.
Yes.
So I've not really said anything to you, but I have made some assumptions.
Yes.
And I have some expectations of you.
Yes.
And then when you fail to meet my expectations, right, I take it out on you.
Yeah.
Right.
So it goes back
Right.
to what you said about communication,
Yeah.
right? Like, I feel like it's almost the foundation, you know, of any relationship, right? Because if I cannot communicate those expectations again in a respectful manner, in a way where I'm not antagonizing anyone, I'm not making you feel, then there's an issue. So communication is something that we need to learn, and I feel like that must have helped you guys in this
But
season.
on the flip point, because I've looked at this whole communication thing, because this is a major thing in marriage, and I've looked at things and I've discussed with other people. So some people are of the view that I've said it once, twice, three times. By now, it's a trigger for me to keep on telling you as my husband or as my wife. Or one school of thought that I've also heard is, you should actually know by now. And I understand that because, you know, sometimes, especially as women, I feel like we bottle a lot of things up because it's just a cycle. Because even discussing with Ayo, and Ayo will discuss with my brother-in-law, and he'll realize that, oh my God, there's things that me and my sister do to both of them. And we're like, oh my God, it must be something from your house. And then me and my sister talked about it. We're like, oh, it's actually from mum. This is what mum does to dad. This is actually what mum does to dad. And we sat down and we realized that it's just, sometimes it's a coping mechanism. You know, I've asked you to do something. If you don't do it, because I've seen a meme as well. A woman say to her husband, can you help me do something? And he'll say, can you give me 1 minute? And she'll say, I'll do it myself. And I know I'm very guilty of that.
Right.
Because I'll say I want something and I want it done
Now.
now.
Drop everything you
But
Drop
the funny thing is
everything.
that if you actually check it, you did not say you want it done now.
But the expectation.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
The
So there's that
expectation.
expectation that you never communicated to me.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, so I feel like we just got into the space after 10 years. It's
Like,
taken us that
yeah.
long to realize that, okay, what are you saying? So when she says something for me, I'm trying to think about what is she saying
What she
that
really
has not
said.
Yeah.
Right.
What has she not said that she's really saying? And then sometimes ask to say, okay, when, how, what, why? And then just to make sure that we're on the same page.
And
So-
it's grace, you know, because it's so funny that at work with my manager, if he says something to me, so he's a man, I will literally go back to him and say, so you mean blah, 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 blah. I'll write it down. I even put it in email because I don't want problem. But I will not give Ayo that same grace. I will just expect him
Yeah.
to know.
Right.
You know, so sometimes we need to, and I've heard it time and time again, and like, we're not perfect. I'm still learning that, okay,
We're still learning.
I need to do this. I need to, when we do it in this way, you'll get this better result if you do it in this way. So we're still learning.
We all are.
So let us bring it back. Now. So you went through this phase, and then you made one or two mistakes, and then you recovered and that. But I don't know. So was there any point where you felt like did you have clashes as a result of this season? Like, and you, from a man's perspective, did you feel like I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that is affecting us? Or I just want to try and understand.
Can I
what
even
was
ask, do
going
you
on
guys
here.
have clashes? No, because you're so
They're so sweet, isn't it?
you're so soft. Like, I've even taken note to myself. Oh, babe, it's not every time gra. It's soft, like a dove.
So, you know, I mean, I practice now as a life coach.
Come on,
And I know that I tell people from time to time that sometimes your personality type already sets you up for a way of behaving. Right? You can be more easily forgiving, being a kind of person. Just like you can be more easily irritated, being a kind of person.
Yes.
The wisdom is to know the kind of person you are, so you know what you're working on. Right? In our case, I think it would take a lot for those clashes to happen. I think a couple of days ago, I don't know what it was, or was it even yesterday when I went to Birmingham? I think it was yesterday. She was upset with me. Was it yesterday we went for the... Yeah, it was yesterday. And she was upset with me because I didn't leave Birmingham on time, so I didn't make the time that we had agreed to meet in the children's school. And she was upset with me. And she made it. I came late. But, I mean, we had the meeting. She didn't want us to cancel. So, that happened. And we're driving home and we started gisting again like nothing happened. But she was actually upset with me before I got to the meeting. And I knew she was, you know. And we started gisting. We talked about it. It passed. We talked about it just to know, like, I was actually upset. That thing upset me. And I'm like, sorry, I explained myself, everything. And we started talking about other things and we're going. And as we're almost parking at home, in my mind, I'm like, is this how people fight?
Did we just...
Now, this is not the real fight. You know? But that's really how we've been. Something can be so disastrous.
Yeah.
And we will sit at it knowing there's no way out. There's no other goal apart from a working marriage.
Yeah.
I love
No other goal. There are people that get into marriage with red flags and triggers and all those things that set you off before anything even starts. And so when you start to see signs, sometimes even with the red flag, you are now seeing, you know, that thing about availability bias. You're now seeing the thing that is not
Yeah.
recognition. All the biases happen
Yeah.
to you. But because you say, I hate it when somebody raises their voice, even if it was passion that made the person raise their voice, and I believe you don't raise your voice when you're talking to me. And that can set something off. It can create whatever. You know, I don't like when a man is nice to a woman and you see your husband do something kind to somebody else and you are set off. Do you get? So all those biases, all those triggers, all those red flags sometimes can set you off for things that you didn't plan. And innocently, you might have misjudged something. So I think one of the things we have worked on is coming to the table without any airs of judgment or, you know, mistrust, or we worked on that so badly. So even in our case, it's not the case of, oh, I trust you because of what you did or didn't do. It's like, even if you've done something that should make me naturally distrust you, I'll gift you trust again, believing that you would make it good this time. So we're not in that place where you have to walk as in
There's
works
acceptance.
for you to be accepted.
So there's that acceptance.
I've gifted you. I expect you to make good of it.
Yeah.
Now that might not
is
work
deep.
for
That is-
everybody,
yeah.
but that's what
I
we've been
told you
doing.
guys.
That is deep. So that's worked for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that means you, because again, the one that you just talked about yesterday, how you just talked about it and said, so that means it's almost like you practice forgiveness.
Oh, yeah.
As a, you know what, forget about it. I forgive you.
I forgive you.
I think, sorry, I was going to say something.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I would say, you know, about our union, and one of the things I love about it is our relationship with God an understanding of what the foundation or the basis of a Christian marriage should be like. Such that, when you're talking about the example that you used, the word that came to my head was forbearance. How do people not have clashes and issues repeatedly? One person in that union must be willing to forbear.
Wow.
Now, two people fight when both of them want to. It's tougher, and I think there's a Chinese proverb that says that it's tougher, it's easier for a fight to be averted if one person is not fighting.
I like that.
And so when we put it together, even if your wife is the worst or your husband is the worst, if you learn it at some point, they will start to consider, why am I the one always causing trouble?
Is everything okay with you?
Do you get, why am I the one? But it's different when you figure you two have a threshold.
Yes.
So at some point you're like, no, now you've pushed me against the wall. Okay, so you then show that you can also fight.
Yeah.
That's how you fight. So if you push you against the wall and there's something else you can do rather than fight because you can't fight.
Then you now use your weapon.
Yeah.
You get so for me, I'm like, one person actually has to forbear. And we do it most times interchangeably. There are times when I'm the one on the edge and she stretches herself as much as she can. And then I come round.
One person.
There are times when it's the other way around.
Yeah.
And I think it's just also that maturity and common sense. That okay, I'm stretching it right now. And you hold yourself back.
Yeah.
So we've done that practically. We've helped ourselves as much as is possible to make sure you actually don't push this person to the point where their threshold slams.
Yes.
I don't know what maturity that is or spirituality, but God has helped us to do that for this much. So we've never had fights that put us in the point where we are wondering if this marriage is for real.
If this marriage
or
works.
if it's working or if it do not work. And that's not because, we've had tests, but we've always come to that place where we know each person gives what is lacking in that moment to the other person. You know what? Let's go again.
Let's try again.
I like that. And then, I hope I say it well, but it just reminds me of physics. I don't know if anybody, obviously, you did a little bit of physics.
So you can't give she knows what she took. Me, I'll say, I don't know.
Sometimes I give her. I'll tell her you can't understand the biology. I'll say the anatomy or something. I said, don't worry, it's biology.
You know who does it? Hugo and Michaela. Daddy, come on, let's do our maths because mommy doesn't understand.
What I just remember now is that, it talks about the elastic limit. So first of all, everyone has. You must be able to stretch. Everyone can stretch, right? So it's not like you should just be. The rubber band cannot just be there, but sometimes you don't even know how much you can stretch, right? So it's important that first of all you're flexible. I know that you can stretch, but understanding that there is also that limit. And if you now stretch beyond that limit, that's where breakup happens.
Yeah.
That's where divorce happens. That's where separation happens, right? And sometimes it could be fixed, but when it's been broken, right? It's almost like
an elastic band's not an elastic band anymore when it's been broken.
Right.
It's actually not. So that just came to my mind about that.
What?
So guys, believe it or not, we've been on for quite a while, and as I said, we want to definitely still and respect your time. It's been a lovely conversation so far. But I want us to take it back quickly. Because we started on this whole roasting or no roasting. I want us to go back there quickly, and maybe we'll close on that, right? So, what sort of advice would you give to singles who feel like I'm roasting? This one is not even just Valentine's Day. This is like I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody, no man, no woman. I am ready. You said we should prepare. I have gone for seminar. I have read books. You said we should open our DM. I have opened it.
It is open.
And nothing seems to be happening.
Yeah.
I'm still roasting. What would you tell? Maybe want to give the advice to the men, and then if you can give the advice to the women on what you can do whilst you're in that
I mean, I think one thing that sort of stands out to me is serving, right? Serving people. Like in that period, like you've done all you can. As much as it depends on you, you've tried. You've made an effort. You've prepared. You've done all those things. But then trying to remove your focus from the situation. So it's not just that, oh, I'm waiting, right? Because many people sort of put their life on pause.
Yes.
Because they're waiting for. But there's so many things that God has gifted you with that you can steward, that you can use in that season. Just don't put your life on pause, right? Go at your dreams. If you want to travel. Like if you have passions that God has put in your heart, go. And one thing I'm even coming to appreciate when I talk about service, right? So we have friends in this season who are also waiting. And one thing that blows my mind every time is how they look for ways to serve us and serve others.
Yeah.
As in like, oh, can I babysit Fifi and Fola? So that I can get to know them better, so that I can bond with them. Like when they make those kind of offers, like it just busts my brain. Like, oh my goodness, like so this person is not just like morose. That's the word I was looking for. Morose and just like regretting their reality. It's like this is life here and now.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I desire to be married and there's no man yet. Okay, but what can I do in this season? How can I live my life to the fullest? How can I steward all the things that God has given me? How can I look for ways to be a blessing to people around me, right? Like, oh, I want children. I'm desirous of having children, and it hasn't happened yet. But there are children around me that I can bond with. There are children around me that God has given me the ability to pour love into, to love, right? Do you understand? And that's another consciousness that we carry as well, because you know you can guard your children so much and shield them, but there are people as well that you can give your children to as gifts to say, you know what, be their mom, be their we allow you, be their bonus mom. Right? And I think service in that season, like take your eyes off the thing. Get off your don't be sad.
Don't be sad.
Don't be sad. Because really it's hard. I know that it's easier said than done, right? Because I'm not walking in your shoes. And I greet that with a lot of empathy, right? Because it's not, I know that it must be difficult. There will be difficult days. But even learning to rejoice with those who rejoice in that season.
Exactly.
Isn't like learning to just rejoice with those who rejoice for what it is, right? And just living your life to the fullest. All the beautiful things, all the beautiful opportunities that God has placed around you. Making sure that you key into those opportunities, key into opportunities for service, key into opportunities for yourself, career-wise, in other areas of your life. Don't put your life on pause because you're waiting for.
Love it. Love it.
I mean, I like my wife's articulation. You know, if there's anything, that's one of the things I still pray for. She asked me this morning, what good areas are you currently working toward, and how can I help you? And that's one of the things I said. You know, for what I do, I'd like to, you know, at the end of the day, be on stages speaking and all of that. And I'm like, your articulation. Well,
see fellow man.
So yeah,
I'm telling you.
See fellow man.
I was just
Let me take notes.
As in,
I was going to speak, you know, from where she had left off, and I was going to mention how, you know, the way there's the chance that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And she was talking about don't be sad. And you'll be very shocked how many times it's a person's personal disposition that creates their personal reality. It's your personality that creates your personal reality. Experiences, encounters, exposures. 3 things that you must pay attention to: people, places, events. You would always be in any of those. Exchanging with that per time is who you are that forms what you experience. And so many people in that state of sadness, anger, pain, whatever it is, you know, the Godwin situations. You find that in the experiences you then find that has been colored by that emotion. You create what you experience from there. And so there might be people that would prolong their single period by themselves, unknown to them.
This is actually deep, you know.
Right? Unknown to them.
Unknown to them. Yeah.
You would feel like you're doing everything. But the proof of doing everything is that something worked. If it doesn't work, you have not done everything.
Then you're not
Right? And for me, I feel that's something many people should know. for the person that wants friends to himself be friendly. But you find that people are already driven into decisions for friendship based on many biases, prejudices,
Yes.
past experiences,
Yes.
pain, struggles,
Yes.
and they've put roadblocks to what can create progress in their
Yeah.
life. So before you get into a friendship, you're already looking for things based on a bias, right? And what you should be doing is to make yourself friendly.
Yes.
Now, I imagine there's a stage of life where you should be as open as possible to having as many friends as possible without any expectation.
Yeah.
And it is from friendliness that you make decisions. But if it's the one that says, because I've experienced pain, you should check other things. The things that caused the pain were also the things you didn't know.
Yeah.
What should happen from the pain is that you learn the things you didn't know so that you can start to do those things better. And not that you shut off the avenue, because there's no entry to union without first friendship.
Yeah.
Every union that happens before friendship
Yeah.
ends up being,
Yes.
something else, because you need that as the
Yeah.
foundation for that. So for me, I'd say spend your time being as social, friendly, helpful, in service, everything that keeps you in the face of people. And people are able to treat you as human and see you as human.
Yeah.
Because it's on those grounds that you find who you're not even looking for sometimes.
Yes.
Right? Somebody might connect you to somebody because they love how you behave.
Yeah.
But if you are out there only looking for who you are looking for, you might never
Then you
find them.
won't- yeah.
Why?
Come on.
It's a kind of person that's
is
looking
good.
for them.
Yeah.
Come on.
And you need to be the kind of person that they want to find,
find.
not the one you have decided is the
Yeah.
one you want to be.
Wow.
See
Wow.
wisdom.
You're just dropping it. I feel like we need to drop all of those emojis
Yeah.
and like
Yeah. Like.
that is good. That is guys, you have heard it. Okay. I feel like today there's so much just sitting here. Like we've learned about sacrifice.
Yeah.
We've learned about forbearance.
Forbearance.
We've learned about service. We've learned how to give good gifts. And
That
celebrate
was the first one. Valentine's good gift.
So like we've learned so much. You guys have been amazing. Thank you. Thank
Honestly,
you.
guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
guys so much.
You know, even we're taking stuff that we're going to see how we can apply, right?
you.
And I hope you guys are
It was-
taking
it was
notes.
good.
All of our viewers out there and all of our listeners, okay? Hope you're taking notes. So I think every good thing they say
Comes to an end.
comes to an end. So at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to draw the curtains. We're not necessarily ending. We're just drawing the
Doing
curtains.
scene one.
Exactly.
Act
And
one,
then-
scene
but I'm
one.
definitely going to bring you guys back.
Definitely.
Because I feel like we only just scratched the
We
surface.
like.
And there's so much that we still need to, but because of time. And
I feel like we need to have our own separate dinner, but they'll kick us out of that restaurant.
But no, we'll do that.
Talk.
We'll definitely do that. We'll do that offline.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you for watching. Okay. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And we're gonna put all of the handles of our guests, okay, down in the description. Okay. So make sure you show them love, follow, binge watch, listen to their podcast because marriages work. Okay. It has been a good time, isn't
It's
it?
been a good time. Like, I'm very reflective right now.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
reflective, and I really do appreciate you guys being here. So
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank
Guys,
you.
please show them love. Okay?
Show them love.
Show them love and
them
help us
love.
thank them. Let them know that you guys are also grateful.
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
Any more for any more?
There's no more for no more, baby.
Thank you guys for rocking with us. We shall
Yes.
see you on
In
the
the
next
next-
episode.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.